Good evening as it is here in China, and welcome to the final of IFSC Lead World Cup number 6 of 2017. I'm Charlie Bosco, delighted to say I've got very special guest Jan Hoyer alongside me this evening, and we're live in Wujiang. Sitting 100 kilometers west of Shanghai in the east of China, Wujiang is one of the 5 urban districts of the Suzhou part of the Jiangsu province. The most popular site for visitors is the peaceful and traditional Lily Village, which many of the IFSC athletes visited yesterday in order to see a more historical part of this ever more modern country. The village has a history dating back over 2,500 years, and parts of it were recently renovated to accommodate the increased number of visitors which the town welcomes these days. Our venue is somehow nestled into a small park beneath towering skyscrapers and next to the Sanbaidang Lake in the southeast part of modern-day Wujiang. The lake, combined with the bustle of a city, make the location fairly unique, and the relative peace in the area minimises the culture shock for most of the climbers after their trip from Europe. And our venue here in Wujiang looking very different to when we got those shots earlier in the week. It is night here, but it's still hot and it's still humid, but a fantastic venue nonetheless, and 2 superb looking routes. And Jan, firstly, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And before we get stuck into today's final, of course, 8 men and 8 women to climb this evening. Seems like you've had a really interesting season. You've had an amazing season. You've made a speed final, 4th in the lead. You won a Boulder World Cup. What's been the secret?
Well, I feel like I had many ups and downs this season. I had a bit of a rough start to the bouldering season. Obviously, I'm really happy about how the season ended with my 2nd place at World Games and my victory in Munich. And it was an interesting experience to do lead and speed as well this year. Training all 3 disciplines was new to me and was much more fun to mix up the training a little bit.
And did you specifically aim to train for all 3 disciplines all the way through the season, or did you decide halfway through, okay, I'm going to do some lead this year?
Well, I knew I wanted to get into speed climbing a little bit, so I started training a couple months ago. But the lead climbing thing was a bit unexpected. I planned to just do the bouldering overall, so I started in Compitello. My coaches convinced me to do another World Cup or 2, and after my 4th place in Villar, I got pretty excited and decided to do the rest of them.
And conversely, do you think that by training for lead and speed, you actually got a bit better at bouldering? Was it a change for your body and your mind?
Maybe both, I think. It took away a lot of the pressure. Training lead, but still feeling in great bouldering shape, was a good way to be perfectly prepared for the last couple of World Cups.
Which certainly worked. I'd still get the hairs on the back of my neck still stand up when I think about Munich. I don't know how you feel. It's an amazing night. But thank you for joining us this evening in a very different setting. Lead final. Julia Chanody, first out, had a nervous wait in the semi-finals to see whether she would make it to this evening's final, and she did. Set a high point and then had to watch as climber after climber came and went. Eventually ended up in 8th place.
She had a really solid season so far. Made almost every final, maybe every final, I guess.
Missed just one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, agree. She had a superb final. A couple of 4th places as well. A podium would be a great result for her. And this women's route, they're climbing on the left-hand side of the wall, the reverse of what we had earlier on today. It was men on the left, women on the right. This time it's women on the left. And possibly a slightly long women's route, we suspect. We shall see. Few issues last week in Edinburgh with the 6-minute rule, 2 weeks ago in Edinburgh with the 6-minute rule. We hope it's not a factor again this week.
Yeah. I haven't quite counted the moves, but it must be between 45 and 50, I guess. And the start with Julia's right now doesn't look too hard. I talked to the route setters earlier. They said the bottom bit might just be a bit easier to make sure they get through it really fast and don't struggle with the 6-minute time limit too much. But as we can see, it's still tricky, and she's challenged on these Gaston moves.
Yes, you head out right, and then the women's route does a massive traverse left, and then it curves back to the right at the top of the wall. They actually finish pretty much directly above where Julia is now, but they go a long way to get there. Good crowd here in Wujiang, pleased to report. We didn't have much of a crowd last year, but we do this year. locals seem to really embrace climbing.
No, she just looked really strong on what the route setters thought would be the first hard move.
Just explain which move you mean there. Up to the green hold.
The move below to the circle where she has her right foot in right now. It was meant to be the first crux move, but she made it look really easy.
As ever, the IFSC, you can get in touch, hashtag IFSCWC. It's on the top of your screen, top right. Give us a shout on Twitter. If you've got any questions for Jan Hoyer. There's the clock, 3 minutes 35 left for Julia. Probably around halfway. So a wee way to go. This is the big traverse out left, and then she'll go straight up and back right to the finish. Not trouble so far by any of the moves, it seems. Of course, all the athletes climbed in the semi-finals this morning. Factor of possible fatigue, and there you can see the wall here in Wujiang. Not an especially high wall. The route setters have packed a lot of moves in. Taking a long rest here. Time ticking by. She's been here almost a minute now around this section of black volumes.
Just taking her time to make sure she gets the next move right, which looks pretty tricky, and I think the girls weren't real sure how to solve this problem during observation, so it will be interesting to see, oh nice, which solution they come up with.
So 2 minutes, just under 2:20 left on the clock, and quite a few moves to go. Hopefully she got something back from that rest. She's taking another rest. I think that the men's and the women's semi-final routes were considered pretty tough. I wonder if the route setters took that into account when they set in the finals or changing the finals. Vincent, our chief route setter today, was pretty happy with their work in the semi-finals. I don't think they made radical changes when I spoke to him. Julia Chanody, as yet, seemingly untroubled on this women's route. Approaching 2/3 height on the wall. Now beginning to fight. Hugging that pink volume. It's the steepest section of the women's route, this. And now she's battling, and now she's off. Just as the angle changes. Great effort from Julia Chanody. She seemed to have plenty of energy left, and then suddenly the fatigue just kicked in. Hugging that big pink volume. Fourth competition route she's climbed in less than 36 hours. Wonder if fatigue playing a factor.
It looked like taking a rest on the steep part of the wall took away some of her energy. Although she looked quite comfortable on the big hold, it always takes so much power on these steep parts to relax and just rest and figure out the next sequence.
Out next it'll be Jessie Piltz of Austria. Her compatriots Hannah Schubert and Magda Ruck not joining her in the final. The sole Austrian representative in the finals. Jakob Schubert didn't make the trip to China. Here comes Jessie Piltz. Looked really strong in the semi-final. Ended up 7th, but also set a high point. It was later surpassed. Just to let you know, Molly Thompson-Smith, Ashima Shirashi, Kia Noguchi, Jane Kim, Anik Verhoeven and Yangjia Garnbrett still to come. We've mentioned it before, countback could be an issue. Yangjia topped the route. Anik had one hand on the top hold. Long way to go before that's an issue, but worth keeping an eye on. Meanwhile, Jessie Piltz.
I was surprised to find out that Jessie never won the World Cup before. She made so many podiums. I talked to her earlier today and had a couple second places, came really close to winning in Edinburgh 2 weeks ago. So I wish her all the best for today's comp.
Yeah, she's one of those climbers like you feel she should have won a World Cup. You just assume she has, and then you check your stats and oh, no. Yeah, in Edinburgh it couldn't have been much closer. Amazing.
But there's so many times Yangjia ruined her dreams of first victory.
Yeah, she's got a habit of doing that, Yangjia. Jessie looked on good form here though. Had one or two injury issues in the past, but seems pretty much back to full fitness. So once again, she'll head out to the right, begin to come back left. Had a very hard move between the 10th and 11th holds in the men's semi-final earlier on. I think the route setters were keen to avoid a repeat of that. Just under 5 minutes left on the clock. 6 minutes, of course. Caused a few problems in Edinburgh. From what we saw from Julia Chanardi, I don't think it will in this route. Thoughts on the 6 minute rule, Jan?
Well, I heard some of the women don't really like it because they train so much. They're actually capable of holding on for longer than 6 minutes. But for me as a spectator, I really enjoy finals more since they banned these super long routes from lead finals where everyone just cruised up the first bit of the route and taken their time climbing for 8 minutes until anything like spectacular happens. So I'm happy about the rule change.
Just to confirm, that was a 36 plus for Julia Chanardi. That's the mark to beat. Jessie, the first of 7 climbers trying to do so.
I think the route setters might need another year or two to fully adapt to the new rule change and set routes that are actually possible to climb in 6 minutes. But I think once that happens, it's actually nice for the sport and much more interesting to watch.
I agree with you. Not sure how everyone does, but I do. I think it's been great, as you say. We don't see people just cruising away for 3-4 minutes. You kind of get stuck straight into the action. And the route setters just need a bit of time to figure it out. As I say, I don't think looking at where Jessie is on the wall time is going to be an issue here. 3 minutes still to go, half her time remaining. We saw Julia Chanardi take a long rest here. Second last time out in Edinburgh, Jessie. She chooses to take a long rest again. When you're backstage, you keep an eye on how long people are on the wall for to try and gauge how they're doing, or you just ignore it?
I think climbers have think differently about it. Some try. Oh, she came up with another solution for that bit of the route. Deciding to come back down again.
Exactly what we saw with Julia Chanardi. Just had a look, didn't like it, came back down.
Well, if you're behind the wall, you can't avoid knowing how long the person in front of you took on the wall, and if you come out, you see the quick draws swing in, and so you have a pretty good idea of what the person in front of you did. Okay,
let's have another look.
Deciding to go up left hand again. Not sure that's the right way. Oh, look at this drop knee.
I thought she was getting a small knee bar in there, but it's actually just a drop knee. She's on her way, seemed to work. You can see various different methods. Minute 30 left on the clock. You can just see at the top of your screen that big pink volume that Julia Chanardi was wrestling with when one moved past it. It's the steepest section of the route this now that Jessie's entering. Well, we were just saying we didn't think time would necessarily be an issue on this route. Could well be now. 1 minute to go and a lot of moves ahead of her. She's chosen to take a long rest and drops it just before the pink volume. Jessie Piltz, that'll put her for now in second place. Early lead for Giulia Sciannoldis. You were just saying she's a climber that hasn't won a World Cup. She won't win one here today. Let's have another look at how that ended. Looked like she just missed the hole. She was grabbing her head in frustration before she'd finished falling. So out next it will be Molly Thompson-Smith, Great Britain, second final for her, made the final in Arco, and he narrowly missed out in Edinburgh. Having the season of her life. We see that, Jessica Piltz 31 plus to Giulia Sciannoldis 36 plus. It's Molly Thompson-Smith. Team GB.
Compared to last season, she really took her climbing to the next level. Like, although it's just her second final, I think we will get used to see her in quite some more this season and the years to come.
You think this isn't just a good form? Do you think Molly's going to be someone that'll be in finals regularly?
I think so, but in climbing it's so hard to tell. One injury can throw you back, but she looked really strong in semi-finals. She's one of the more athletic climbers in the women field for sure.
Yeah, she climbed superbly in the semi-finals. Looked like she might be on for a top at one stage. In the end, it was only Yangjia that got one. How often do we say that? But Molly topped one of the qualifying routes. Didn't get on so well with the other one, and then had a great semi-final. Finished it in 6th place. Climbs 3rd, reverse order as ever. Hashtag IFSC WC if you wanted to get in touch this evening. Jan Hoyer is here, ready to answer most of your questions. Maybe not all. You are ready, yeah. I forgot to tell you. I'll tell you now. That's part of the deal. So all the climbers so far really cruising this lower section. Possibly another benefit of the 6-minute rule, though, is that even if you are able to rest, they maybe choose not to.
Yeah, I think that's the part that some climbers don't like, because if you feel like you can rest, you always were able to either on rock or you used to be on World Cup competitions, and that's the adjustments climbers have to make, and some are not happy about it. So I can totally see their point.
So on this next hole, the one she's going for now, yeah, we've seen climbers taking long rests on here, particularly Giulia Sciannoldis, but Jessie Piltz had a fairly decent rest as well. Both of them, as in fact, launched into the next section, didn't like the beater, came back down.
I think whoever comes up with the best sequence for the next couple moves has the biggest advantage, because all the other climbers took forever to rest or readjust, and if you can be much quicker and save like half a minute compared to the others, you might have much more left in the upper half of the route.
Molly launches and latches the right hand, no problem.
Yeah, really committing to one of the bigger moves on the route.
Locked her shoulders really nicely, just held it pretty effortlessly, it has to be said. So that was where we lost Jessie Piltz.
Molly's still looking okay.
Just a hint of urgency in her movements.
Whoa! Was that the one-arm pull-up?
I think you'd have been proud of that one.
For those who want to see her do one, just check her Instagram as she falls.
Superb effort, Molly Thompson-Smith. That's enough for second place as it stands. Giulia Sciannoldis still leading the way. Let's have another look how it finished. She just think she knew that bolt-on was there, presumably from observation, but it just took a while to find it. Let's have a look where she fell. So she readjusts, get the left foot in place, slapped up, perhaps just slightly missed it.
She didn't look quite comfortable on the left-hand hold on the volume, so she couldn't really prepare the next move properly. I think she couldn't release the right foot and go again, so she just made sure to get the plus, like throw for the next hold, knowing that she probably won't stick it. But still, it's already a personal best for her after her 8th place in Arco.
Out next will be Ashima Shirashi. Have you enjoyed watching her in the World Cups? People were looking forward to it for a long time.
Definitely so far. I was surprised how she would deal with the pressure she has competing on the biggest stage for the first time. It must be really hard to be known as one of the strongest climbers in the world before you even climb your first qualification route as a World Cup. So I think she did an amazing job of handling the pressure, and obviously she's an amazing climber, and will be interesting to see how soon she can challenge Yangjia and the other Yangjia and Nak, and just the best climbers in the world.
Yeah, I think some people were expecting that she'd just arrive on the scene and be winning immediately, but it doesn't really work like that. Like Timmerman said in the semi-final, you also need a bit of experience of semi-finals and finals. You need a bit of experience of competition climbing under the lights. It doesn't happen instantly.
I didn't know her before. I never climbed with her before she entered her first World Cup. But knowing how strong Yangjia and the other top girls are, I would have been surprised if she just came and won everything.
Yeah. She's done well to cope with the hype, and she's just been climbing solidly, making finals, getting the job done. Does her first senior World Cup win await. We shall see. She's got some competition. Youngest person ever to climb 9A outdoors, 13 years old. Extraordinary.
Did 8C boulder problems as well, so she's very capable of doing the hardest moves even on the World Cup routes.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. She's, for the 3rd time in a row, she did the double in the Innsbruck Youth World Championships. 3rd Youth World Championships she's done that, won the boulder and the lead. Something of a climbing prodigy. And as I mentioned earlier, surely the only person here who's appeared on James Corden. Go on YouTube, put in James Corden, Ashima Shirashi, and you will see her teaching him to climb. Not very successful, it should be added. Suddenly these moves out to the right look quite a long way.
She tried to reach the foothold first instead of... Oh, no, she goes for toe hook. Interesting way of doing it. Oh, look at her body tension. She made this move so much harder, but still looked comfortable doing it.
4th last time out in Edinburgh, not too far off her first Senior World Cup podium. Is today the day? As Jan said, didn't make life easy for herself initially. She's into it now. What a lineup we have here in the women's, and what a lineup we have in the men's. So many stories. The men's with the bouldering, but there's no story bigger, it would seem, in climbing than Ashima. She's just looks so relaxed sometimes on the wall.
In the women's final we have like so many familiar faces. It's pretty much the same 6 or 7 girls making finals every time. But for the men it will be really exciting to see all the boulderers that made finals for the first time, like Jongwon Chon and Tomoa Nagasaki today.
So this is the beginning of the big traverse out left, and then you go straight up to the big pink volume where we lost Julia and Molly. There we see it, and then you come all the way back right and you finish directly above Ashima. Haven't seen that much of the upper section, and Ashima, time-wise, behind the climbers we've seen so far. She's got less than 3 minutes. And resting in a spot we haven't seen the other climbers resting. Just to confirm, was it? Oh, and it looked a long way, that move out to the left.
The route sitter thought it would be a dino to get to the hold everyone's resting on, but apparently even the shorter climbers can keep their feet on and just reach for it.
It was a 33.5 plus for Molly Thompson-Smith. Slightly unusual score. It's when the route map, as created by the route setters, doesn't quite match up with how the climbers climb it. You can get a 33.5.
I think she got the half point for grabbing the volume with no screw on, just to change her body position and bump up again.
And once again we see another climber seemingly misread this section, and that's another method altogether. Oh, it makes you wince.
Looks like she lucked into this knee bar, just misreading, having to come back down, made her find a good rest. Whoa, she looks so solid on the knee bar, having no weight at all on her hands. Just makes the match so easy.
Yeah, she'd be sad to leave that knee bar behind. It looked, she was getting a lot out of it. Now she recovers slightly. 1 minute 10 left on the clock. I think time a real issue for Ashima here. She's got a watch on her harness. You saw her start it.
A minute might be enough to get a high point, definitely. Maybe not enough to top the route, but...
Yeah, you're right. There's enough for a high point. This is the big pink volume above where we just lost Molly. Oh, Ashima just about sticks that move at the right hand. This is a powerful move. As you pointed out, Molly pretty much did a one-armer on it. And it's the same move again. I think that'll be... We'll see how the judges call that one.
I think she will have a 33 plus instead of the 33.5, because she couldn't stick the volume again with her left, but we'll see how the judges decide.
Really neatly done. So getting past that large pink volume, there you see it on the left, the bottom of your screen, proving to be the crux so far. That was Ashima arriving at it. She's given a 33 plus, you're absolutely right. Let's have a look. This is a replay of Ashima. Yeah, there's that move up to the pinch. So that puts her in third place as it stands. She's not going to claim her first World Cup win, but if things stay as they are.
I think we didn't really appreciate how well Julia Chanaudy did that sequence, but it's so hard to tell with the first climbers if they had a really good run or just okay.
Well, I said this in the semi-final. It's like in Arco when Jakob Schubert was climbing, and we were saying, and Stasher alongside us was saying, oh, it's going too slowly. And then climber after climber came and went, and he won the competition. So Julia Chanaudy, she's done all she can do, 36 plus, and she still leads away. Kiyonaguchi.
A very interesting climber to watch, in my opinion, because Akiyu definitely has the strength to solve the boulder problem while the other girls fall, but we'll see how pumped she'll be after the first 30 moves in a bit.
Great climber to watch, but how will she deal with that pink volume if she can get that far? It's probably a volume that's quite familiar to her as a boulderer.
Well, as a boulderer, you're a bit more used to the absence of actual holds and a bit more volume climbing, so she'll be fine, unless she's super pumped up there.
Yeah, normally if you ever see a World Cup boulder, the first thing the average climber says is there's no holds.
That's what I usually think when I come out.
I'm glad it's not just me. Still living off the glory of the fact that I got a bonus in Chongqing when we tried them afterwards. Whole season I got one bonus. There we go. Can't win them all. Now she heads right. She's now finds herself directly under the finish hold. There we see it. That's the men's route on the right, black and the yellow. Speed wall even further right of that. We had a fantastic speed climbing final, all sorts going on. We had a double false start, a tie, false start in both small finals. Meanwhile, Akio looking slightly taxed by that long move up there, which is surprising. She's one of the taller climbers. Back on track now, and she'll begin the traverse out to the left to the rest, and then it's a couple of very crimpy moves up to that big pink volume. Plenty of time. She's over a minute ahead of Ashima at this stage. Not that it ended up being the key for Ashima, but just something to keep an eye on. Well, she bumps through it. So this is the move you were talking about. The route setters, they thought you would have to jump for that?
Yeah, do it a bit dynamically, but Akiyu didn't even use the intermediate. She just reached out. Maybe the route setters didn't expect the women to be that comfortable on the right-hand crimp. I know they're told it's not a good one, but they just full crimp it and seem to be able to rest on, which is really impressive to me. For Akiyu, it's even more important to get through this sequence quickly, having a bit less endurance than the other competitors, maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't look a very comfortable rest, that.
Oh, nice. She goes all the way.
Nicely done for Ricky Noguchi, and then instantly gets her heels on. She's got amazing flexibility and just leaves her body onto the wall.
Although the move looked a bit powerful, she made up her mind quickly and executed it, so I think she didn't lose as much power, but looking a bit tired anyway.
So this is where Jessie Piltz fell. It was going for that hold. So Jessie will be surpassed by Akio. She heads up now to the volume, holds the swing. This move might be a bit easier for her. She's a bit taller, but no, again, it's that slap for the top.
Fell on the same move as Molly Thompson-Smith, so Akiyu will be in second place due to countback.
Let's have a quick look. This is Akio, so she got the volume with the left hand, tried to bump up. Looked like she hit the hold, just run out of power. Been nicely done from Akio, climbed quickly. Finished with 2:26 left on the clock, would have been more than enough time to top had she carried on. And there we see it, 33.5 plus. Julia Chanaudy still leading the way. If one of the remaining three climbers can't match her high point, she'll be on the podium. I think that would represent a superb result for her. Jane Kim, Arco winner, will be out next onto the stage. See they're all pitch black. The days seem very short here in China. It's a beautiful day today. The lake looks stunning. We've got a good crowd out here this evening. Got a good crowd all day, actually.
If you like the lake, I want to see you go for a swim tomorrow.
Well, there was a bit of negotiation about how much I would have to be paid to jump in. I wanted 1,000, and the person offering the money only offered 100. So we couldn't find a middle point, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not Lake Garda, but it looks very nice. Speaking of Lake Garda, Jane Kim, first win for almost 2 years for her in Arco, around 6 weeks ago. Starts the clock. She was one of the climbers in Edinburgh that fell foul of the new 6-minute rule. She's definitely added a level of dynamism to her climbing this year. But she'll need to keep up a good pace here. It's You see it, that camera's right at the top of the wall. It's a mighty long way. As I said, relatively short wall, 15 metres, but lots of moves packed in. 36 plus the high point to beat for the 26-time World Cup winner. Venue MC doing his best as ever, get the crowd involved. Interesting aspect of coming to China actually is that the crowd cheer at what for us seem like random moments.
They cheer whenever you fall. They don't care much about the climbing, but they enjoy the falls a lot.
Yeah, you took a particularly spectacular fall on one of the qualifying routes. When you jumped for that top hold, the yellow one, the crowd were loving it.
Took a good whip on the qualifications, it's true. I don't even know why I flipped the last draw, but for some reason he let me down quite a bit.
Jane just approaching the corner, if you like. It's a very open corner, but it's something of a corner. You can just about use both walls.
I'm already a bit bored by the bottom third of the route. No one seems to struggle on any of the moves. Nothing super dynamically. And well,
yeah, we haven't had anyone really struggling on that lower section. The first couple of minutes have been pretty stress-free.
No one really looked like he might fall before like the traverse bit of the route. But it's so hard for the route setters to find the perfect level of difficulty.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the men's semi today, we had people falling at move 10 repeatedly. And
yes, I think the route was alright, but just climbing in 30 degrees in full sun made the route so much harder, and the route setters just didn't expect it to play as much of a role. So now conditions are much better, and maybe they wanted to play it safe and make sure there's not one super hard move in the bottom half, so it's impossible.
So now Jane onto the traverse. It's not the next hold. People have been resting on it, so one after that. I think with about 3 minutes on the clock, she'll probably take a rest, actually. Maybe not a super long one, but we might see her here for 30 seconds or so. As ever, does it nicely. Nice and smooth. Gets a clip done and does take a rest. It looks like one of those rests where maybe your forearms are getting a rest, but not much else is. It's hard on the shoulders, that position, and the biceps.
Yeah, sometimes you have to decide whether you want to rest your forearms a bit and sacrifice a bit of upper body strength, maybe, especially in steep parts. Oh yeah, and deciding to go all the way made it look really easy. She should have enough endurance to enter the next section without being really pumped.
Again, we get a big round of applause. The crowd are all around us as well, actually. So if you hear the odd clap or shout, that's what it is. Jane Kim, that's the hold where we lost Jessie Piltz. Jane's still going strong. Doesn't need to jump, finds the sweet spot, and the bolt's on hold.
Oh, puts up her foot right away and has no problem with the pumpy volume moves.
Such clever climbing from Jane Kim.
Oh, and she even brought up her foot. Julia Chanodi never brought her foot up, so Jan is much more likely to do the next move.
There it is. So she's into the head wall here.
Looking still really fresh, but the route setters told me now it gets really hard and bouldery.
She sticks that left hand. That's Jane Kim, guaranteed at least a podium. Only 2 climbers to come and she's in the lead. Not tied with anyone all the way through the competition, so countback could be key if she was able to top the route. She's certainly got time to do it. Does get hard though, this top section. That move up to the round ball, though, she made look very easy, and she could have timed this to perfection. Just eyeing up that move to the right, resets her hand. Once again, studying. Gets the right foot to stick, crowd enjoying this.
23 seconds left.
Time perhaps becoming a factor, 15 seconds to go. Can Jane Tim be the first climber to top this route? 8 seconds. Venue MC is imploring her on. And she touches the top hole but doesn't get it. But Jane Kim, wonderful effort. 4 seconds to go. And she slaps the top hole but doesn't quite land it. 2 climbers still to come. Will it be enough? It's certainly enough for a podium. But the route looks toppable. Jane Kim was so close. I think she had a bit more time. She could have just set herself for a bit longer. She might have got that.
I wonder if she knew how much time she had left, but by now all the competitors must have a really good feeling for how long 6 minutes are.
Let's have a look. Yeah, slightly disappointed.
Well, if you want to win a World Cup and you don't top a route, you know your chances to beat Yangjia and Anak are not super good, maybe. But we will see how that goes.
Yeah, Yangjia and Anak so often been between those two, with Jane Kim right there as well. Yeah, Yangjia topped the semi-final route. Anak had her hand on the top hole but couldn't quite top it. Here you see it, Jane Kim 45 plus. Can't get much closer than that. Anak comes out. Takes, oh, cameraman just tripped over something there. Takes an individual observation time. Before we came on air, the climbers have an observation period where they can study the route en masse.
Today the routes were on the wall really early, so most of the girls even watched the route for half an hour during speed finals already, discussing it with their coaches and everyone. So it's a bit different. I'm not sure I like it. I think in finals, climbers should be able to find the sequence on their own without help from anyone else, except for other competitors that are in finals as well. So I think route setters could make a better job of covering the wall a bit or putting the last key holds on when climbers are in ISO actually.
Yeah, generally we see the route setters doing that, changing the routes at the last minute. It seems to be the case today, unusually. Are you a fan of joint observation overall? Do you like the idea of everyone observing together?
You mean the 8 finalists
Yeah,
together?
I mean, do you like observing with people, or would you rather just have your own space?
I like that everyone can choose how many information you share, how many people you want to talk to. If you want to find a sequence on your own, you just don't have to talk to someone. So sometimes I feel like it's a bit of an advantage for the strong nations. If 3 Japanese, for example, make finals, they have a bit of an advantage discussing all the problems together compared to guys like Jongwon Chon, who usually has like no fellow Korean climbers in Bouldering World Cup finals.
Yeah, it does add an element to it. You must have found that in Munich. Mind you, it seemed to work out okay. Anak untroubled at this stage. Not won a World Cup in 2017, European Championships and the World Games, but no IFSC World Cups so far. Won a couple last year in Arco and Kran. We'll be back in Slovenia on the 12th and 13th of November.
I might be wrong, but I'm under the impression that she adapted her climbing style a little bit compared to 2 weeks ago, where she timed out in finals. she expressed her frustration about the 6-minute rule openly on social media, and but if with 3.5 minutes left, like already halfway up the route, it would be an impressive effort to adjust so fast within 2 weeks, and because it's easy to say just climb faster, but actually changing something you did for so many years, just resting on every hold you feel comfortable on, is a really hard thing to do. Well, not for me. I'm never comfortable enough on any hold to rest. But
not a big fan of resting as a rule. Now again, she's just trying to figure it out. Looks like she's going to launch from there, and she's off. Anna Verhoeven.
Looks like she just hit the rope with her right hand, trying to go up for the volume.
Is furious with herself. You can see her lining that one up from a long way down. You've seen lots of different methods there. Climbers trying something and then giving up and trying something else. And she is frustrated.
Still giving the B there a little smile and a wave to the crowd. Like, real nice.
So let's have another look. I said just before she went, she's lining it up here.
You just look at her right hand, and I'm not sure what happened there.
It seemed as if she slightly caught her arm on the rope. I don't think she was actually tangled in the rope. I think she just thought she was.
She knows she had much more left in the tank.
You can't get the knot undone, which is the last thing you want when all you want to do is get out of the spotlight. You've got 2 cameras pointing at you. We're also live, I'm told, on Chinese TV, albeit they're taking their own pictures rather than ours.
Not the nicest thing in the world to stand at the spotlight for an extra minute because you can't untie the knot.
No, that's tough for Anak. Really tough. But it does mean that Jane Kim guaranteed 2nd place. Also means that Julia Shanodi is guaranteed a place on the podium. Kia Noguchi currently in 3rd place, the last of the podium places, but with some lady called Yangjia Garnbrett still to come, who I'm told is quite handy.
She's probably rushing to get her shoes on right now. Oh, there she is, expecting Anak to climb for a bit longer than just 3 minutes.
It's such a shame for Anna Verhoeven. She'd looked really neat and composed up until that stage, and as I said, I don't think she was tangled in the rope, but I think she just caught it as she went and it threw her slightly, and she then tried to grab back at the black volume, but by then it was too late.
I'm real sorry for Anak. She's one of the nicest, the most humble person you'll ever meet at the World Cups, and so incredibly strong that not making podium is always a bit frustrating for her. I had the honor to climb on rock with Anak one day this year, and she burned me off on an 80 plus route. She's so incredibly strong that really changed my view of women World Cup climbing. I'm sure many men would struggle on the finals route, and I'm sure the strongest women could do really well on the men's routes as well. Maybe not win the World Cup, but like Yangjia beat me in training so often, even in bouldering, that I wouldn't be surprised if she actually made finals at the men's World Cup.
Well, it's interesting. We were actually having this discussion over a beer last night. What would happen if you let Anak, Jane, and Yangjia loose on the men's final route? Mm-hmm. It's an open question. It would be interesting. They're at that level.
Well, I think height definitely plays a key role. So I think for Yain it might be even harder than for Yangjia. But I'd just love to see it.
You never know. There might be some competition organizer out there thinking about a mixed comp. You never know. Be interesting to see.
I'm definitely not going to enter this comp if Yangjia is invited.
She's been something of a phenomenon. She actually, you might have noticed earlier on, she was limping slightly in the semi-final, and I spoke to her afterwards, and she actually banged her heel quite badly, bruised it slightly, just walking around the other day, nothing dramatic, and she was having a bit of pain from it, but she said it doesn't hurt when she's climbing. doesn't affect her, but if you see her walking, she might have a slight limp. Just whacked her heel. It's that heel there, so it's obviously not causing too many problems. Looking in control as you'd expect at this stage. She'll be well aware, I'm sure. As you say, she had to grab her rock boots quickly. Anna probably fell lower than expected. Yeah, and you're in control in the overall standings, but you can't actually clinch it today after Jane Kim's performance, because Jane is guaranteed to be, well, at least second. A podium from Jane or Anna would have kept it going. So Yangjia can't take the overall title today, but you'd have to say she's in a pretty strong position to do so next week in Xiamen. We shall see. Relying on a good performance here. She doesn't have many bad performances.
We have to keep an eye on the clock, as she has to top the route or fall on the last move in order to come away with a victory. But she looks alright with 3 minutes left.
Of course, won 2 weeks ago in Edinburgh. Extraordinary finish. She was climbing, she got timed out while she was climbing, and the judges had to go back and see where she was when she timed out. It was an amazing finish.
She got a bit lucky 2 weeks ago. She rested for so long, although she must have known that time's running out, and then she just made the last last move she needed to win.
As that move, we saw quite a few climbers fall on, including Akira Noguchi earlier on. Doesn't trouble Yangjia too much. Yeah, it was interesting in Edinburgh. Everyone was shouting at her to keep moving, and I don't think she realised what they were shouting. Probably the Scottish accent, and yeah, slowed right down. She's into the pink volume and up onto the round pink ball, so she'll guaranteed at least second.
Oh, she used the heel hook on the big pink volume, making the move look much easier compared to Yain, even having quite a bit of a rest.
As you said, time could have been a factor actually. But she flew through that steep section, and now she chooses to take another rest. I've no doubt she's aware how much time's left. 1:30. And not that many moves to do. Are we about to see a top? It would be a clean sweep for Yangjia Gambret of all both the qualifying routes and the semi-final route and the final, if she can do it. Jane Kim will be watching anxiously. Can she claim a second World Cup win of the year? She's done all she can do. It's up to Yangjia Gambret. It so often is.
Looks a bit more relaxed than Jain.
So Yangjia Gambret, 50 seconds to go. Swings her feet out right, gets it first time. Levers her body onto that right foot. She's got plenty of time here, 40 seconds to figure out these final couple of moves. The top hold is just out of the shot. There it is.
No, she has 30 minutes to get a plus from the second to last hold. Hopefully she doesn't time out while resting.
Don't make that mistake again, Yangjia. 20 seconds to go. Needs to go for this, actually. Lines it up. Yangjia Gambret for the top. You'd expect nothing less. Top both qualifying routes. Top the semi-final route. Tops the final route. Claims another win. Is there anything she can't do?
Clipping the chains just in time.
Yeah, remember you got to clip the chains for it to be a top. She got it done.
She would have won even without the top, but if you top both qualification routes and semi-finals, I'm sure she would have been disappointed not having the top on the score sheet.
Yeah, absolutely. Count back would have been enough, so if she tied with Jane Kim, if she just slapped the top hold, she'd have won the competition. As it is, as it so often is, she tops the route, heads back inside. She is a phenomenon. Yangjia Gambret wins in Wujiang. She's been virtually unstoppable this season and last. She claims another top. It's a clean sweep. The scores have just popped up on our screen. And there it is. Yangjia wins. She tops the route. She's followed by Jane Kim and Julia Shanodie. Great result for Julia Shanodie. Akuna Gucci in 4th. Molly Thompson 5th. Shiva Shirashi in 6th. Jessie Piltz 7th, with Anna Verhoeven with that slip low down in 8th place. She'll be disappointed with that, but she'll have, in a week's time, a chance to make amends. Let's have a look at the men's starting list. There you see it. 3 Japanese climbers. Yoshiyuki Ogata, fresh from a very successful Innsbruck Youth World Championships. Koichiro Koranaga. Jongwon Chon, the reigning Boulder World Cup champion. Tomohiro Nagasaki. Romain de Grange leading the standings in the World Cup this year. Domen Skofic, last year's World Cup champion. Hamwol Kim and Stefano Ghisolfi out last. Fascinating men's final, and here is first climber, Yoshiyuki Ogata. As I said, Youth World Championships are a big success for him, and he's underway here in Wujiang. First chance to have a look at this men's route.
He might be my favorite climber to watch right now. His style is really cool. He comes up with super creative solutions for... Oh no, he just...
Oh no, he's Z-clipped.
I don't even know what the rules are for Z-clip, if you're allowed to take
We'll have
the
to
rope
re-clip and start again. There we go.
off. Oh. Well,
actually can be quite dangerous if you, in some situations, it's Z-clip, but corrects it and he's on his way.
I'm not surprised it happens to Yoshiyuki. At Youth Worlds in Innsbruck, he made so many mistakes and still won in style easily, but nice. Cruising through the volumes, being a boulderer, like he's not too challenged by a couple black volumes on the bottom part of a route.
Yeah, as you said, he's not always the neatest climber. He's not exactly Jane Kim in his style, but I don't think he'd be thrown by too much by that early mistake. Corrected it quickly. So it looks like a slightly harder start than we saw on the women's route. The angle really begins to kick in above this next quick draw.
It's so hard to tell how hard these moves really are with guys like Yoshiyuki. They are so strong at bouldering, they can just make the hardest moves look really easy. What's he looking at? The clock?
Do you generally find that when you read a lead route, you're correct about where the hard moves are?
Today no one expected the 10th move of the semi-final to be hard at all, and then 10 people ended up falling there. So I think it's really hard to see it from the ground sometimes, especially in China, where most of the athletes don't know all the holds. Oh.
Yoshiyuki's, there he goes, seems to have found himself in a bit of a muddle.
I think that's a bit of an unconventional way of solving this sequence. The route says expected them to bump up right hand.
And then he really hits the steep section after this, and it's a series of, again, black volumes, yellow holds.
Not the smoothest clipping performance I've ever seen.
He's got the job done, but yeah, quick draws have been causing him all sorts of problems so far. 3 minutes to go. Again, looks down at the crowd. Big Japanese team here as ever. Pauses mid-height before launching into the steep section. And the route setters are saying it's not that complex, this section, but quite physical.
Yeah, I think the roof bit is where the finalists are supposed to get real pumped and tired before they enter the top section of the route. But it's really hard to predict how they actually... Oh, another great clip from Yoshiyuki.
Yeah, he's not having much success with the quick draws today. Causing all sorts of issues. Now he's on his way.
A nice camera angle to see how tiny these crimps are.
He's not having too much trouble so far, I've got to say. He's cruising, but I think it'll kick in quickly here. Can't quite figure out what to do with his feet.
Now he looks real tired.
It does look tired all of a sudden. That's a tiny hold he's going for. Will he get some relief here? This is looking difficult for Yoshiyuki Ogata to try and find a body position to get some weight off that tiny crimp. He just can't figure out what to do with his feet. Looks like he's going to slap for the ball. He is, and he's on his way. Good first effort, but it seemed like he just lost his way a bit through the reef section, and as you rightly say, 1 or 2 issues clipping.
I think he got through quite some really hard moves. And we'll see if any of the other climbers has more problems with the bottom half of the route, but it definitely looks more challenging than the first half of the women's route.
Out next to be his compatriot Kichiro Korinaga. Another exciting climber to watch. Short, explosive. Really interesting climber. Yoshiyuki heads back in, waiting for his score to come through.
Out of the 3 Japanese that made finals, Kichiro is the only real lead climber who doesn't compete in bouldering or speed.
It's so interesting to see how he gets on versus people like Yoshiyuki, Tomoa Narasaki. We've seen Kokoro Fuji in a few lead finals, but not Tomoa. His first lead World Cup final, not the case for this man, Kichiro Korinaga. Been really climbing well for a couple of years now. Remember, he is allowed his own individual observation time. Opting for trousers, unusual. It's still very warm here. It's underway. You can see the cameras there from Chinese TV capturing all the action. Section through the volumes, not tough to read, but a couple of high-risk moves, especially for a climber, shorter climber like Kichiro.
I love the way he attacks even the biggest moves on the route. He just goes for it, never seems to hesitate much.
Full commitment every time. He's into the yellow section holes now. First section on the black volumes done relatively comfortably. 1 move up to the right, looked as if it was towards the limit of his reach. But other than that, he's on his way. 6 climbers to follow him: Jongwon Chon, Tomoa Narasaki, Roman de Grange, Domen Skofic, Han Wul Kim and Stefano Ghisolfi. Just to give you a bit of a heads up actually about the overall standings, just quickly as we keep an eye on Kichiro. Roman de Grange can clinch the overall World Cup title here in Wujiang this evening. What a reward that would be for an amazing career. Kichiro, as expected, no hesitation, climbing quickly, decisively. Nicely done. So above this next yellow hold that he's heading out to on the right, then head on to the arête. If you're wondering why there's a section without any holds, there's actually a yellow hold just on the edge of the upper spotlight, just on the right of your screen as you look at it now. You can just see a bit of it. Already more than 2 minutes gone. He's really slowed the pace. He fired up through the lower moves to the volumes. Slowed it down slightly now. How well has he judged it? He'll hit the slab, and then the route gets really steep. Keep an eye on time. So you can see the angle change above Kichiro there, where the roof really kicks in. There he is. So we lost Yoshiyuki on that big round, perfectly round volume, the yellow volume, about halfway up the steepest section of the route. Kichiro really struggling to find a way of getting his feet on. That's how you do it. Looked like it might even be a knee bar on offer there, but he's not quite got long enough legs. Now resets himself. It's quite an awkward route, this men's route.
It looks really bouldery, but pumpy at the same time as soon as you enter the roof.
Doesn't look the best rest in the world, I have to say. He's getting something out of it.
These guys can rest on everything, so even if they look really comfortable, it doesn't mean it's a really good hold. The hold where he rested earlier, the slopey one, is one of the dual texture slopers, and not the best hold in the world, and really easy to slip off. He seems to have a bit more left in the tank compared to Yoshiyuki, maybe. So let's see how he... Oh, nice. Looking so comfortable on the tiny crimp.
Yeah, Yoshiyuki seemed to be quite fresh and then seemed to lose it quite quickly, actually, once he got into the roof. Let's have a look what Kichiro can do. Again, opting to rest. He'll be very, very short on time if he is going to top the route. 1 minute 40 left. Chooses just a campus. And we were talking about his commitment to the big moves. Maybe could have done with slowing it down a bit there.
I really liked his effort, though. I wish he would have succeeded campusing that move.
Yeah, I respect the intention. Great effort, but it didn't quite work. It looked an awfully long way, that move. Have another look. He lined it up, both feet off, full commitment. There you see it. Reach the hold. Now out next will be Jongwon Chon, two-time overall Boulder World Cup champion. Really looking forward to seeing how he gets on. See in the background there, Yangjia Garnbrett chatting to Eddie, the IFSC photographer. Add another gold medal to the suitcase.
I can't wait to see Jongwon climb. He's one of my better friends at the World Cups, and I'm really psyched for him to make his first league final. He looked really strong all the way through the comp, and he topped the first qualification route, fell on the last move on the second. Looked really strong in semi-finals again. Like, wasn't bothered at all by all the hard crimpy moves. And I really hope that he has a perfect run, climbs until he's pumped, and, well, ideally ends up on the podium.
What a result that would be. Do you know how much lead training he's been doing? I spoke to him briefly, but I didn't get to ask him much about what he's been up to. Has he been training much?
I think he trained quite a bit. He did Korean lead nationals like 2 months ago maybe, and focused more on lead training since. So we'll see how much endurance he has, but he looked like he could challenge even the better lead climbers in all previous routes.
He's certainly got a good build for a lead climber. He's light.
Definitely. Being strong on crims, being light, and also used to all the volume climbing this finals route has to offer, he could do really well. I'm sure he can handle the pressure. He's competed in so many finals, so it's not a new thing to him to be in the spotlight and do a couple hard moves.
And he's having a similar experience to you, I guess, where whatever you do is a bonus in the final.
I'm not sure how he feels about it.
Do you think he's putting himself under some pressure?
I think he has some kind of expectations. I would have if I had as much endurance as he has, so let's see how that goes.
Yeah, I was interested. I'm chatting to one of the coaches, and they said they were training with Jongwon in one of the gyms at the World Cups. And the guy said, well, as a coach, I think he's about 30% stronger than almost anyone.
Yes.
That was his assessment.
Guys like him, but I got used to it.
But that's a big statement, 30% stronger than people. I mean, that's massive.
Hard to tell what that is, but if it comes to pure crimp finger strength, on crims especially, he is a step above the most of the World Cup boulderers even.
You train with him. Where does that come from? Is it just training, or is it a combination of training and genetics?
I have no idea, but he obviously does something right. Like, he trains really hard. His body type suits his climbing style a lot. So he's built to be strong on crimps. Like, he's really light, but there's many light climbers in the world, and not many can climb with him on crimp. So there must be genetics and a lot of training.
Interesting to see. He's just shaking out a bit. And, endurance, you'd have thought, not too much of a factor at this stage. This is where it'll really kick in. He's looked very smooth up to this stage.
I asked the route setters if there might be like a good rest underneath the roof, and they Zhong1 is the first one who found it, just palming the volume for a second.
Just pushing up against it. Okay, let's see how he can get on.
Come on,
Shouldn't
Sean.
have any problem holding on. Up, no
So
problem.
strong.
If he can latch this big round volume, he'll have the lead.
He's even thinking about the next clip. Maybe he has something left.
You can see he's beginning to work hard. This looks extremely promising. Zhong Chon skips out the round ball. So this is the lead. Zhong Chon, two-time Boulder World Cup overall champion, is leading here in Wujiang in the lead. Nicely done.
I love the way he fought his way through the roof, knowing he has only a couple moves left, but he still climbed super precisely.
What a monster.
I'm not sure he knows that he's in the lead right now. He'll be excited.
Oh, he'll be pretty happy when he has a look at the big scoreboard. I'm just turning to look at it. Results on there. They will be shortly, I'm sure. So let's have another look. He got the sweet spot. Okay. It looked as if he would have preferred to actually stay there, but his momentum took him and he had to go.
I think he knew he couldn't stick it and do many more moves, so he made sure he's just stuck it and got a plus, just jumped towards the next hold. Oh yeah, there he goes.
Of course, he clinched the title in Munich 2 months ago in the bouldering. Fascinating to see him in a league competition. Tomoa Narasaki out next. Another climber we're looking forward to seeing. A boulderer turned lead climber. There you see it, 30 plus for Zhong Chon. Completely skipped out that round yellow volume. And it's Japan 2 and 3. Here's Tomoa. Such a distinctive style. Jumping between the holes, almost like a squirrel jumping between the branches. He just springs between them.
One of the most dynamic climbers for sure. I'm not sure how much he trained. I think one of the Japanese said he didn't train as much for lead, which makes it even more impressive that he qualified for finals. But we'll see how much endurance he's left.
You wouldn't have thought he'll have too many issues with this lower section. Black volumes, he'll know them well. Dynamism, climbing on volumes, not a problem for Tomoa. Won the Adidas Rock Stars.
In style a couple times already.
Yep. Cruising so far here in Wujiang. Do you have the chance to train with him much when we were in B-Pump in Tokyo?
No, I never really trained with him.
Whatever he's doing, it's working.
Whatever the Japanese are doing, it's working. Like we all got used to their dominance in bouldering, but having 3 climbers in the lead final now might be the next step of their.
Got himself in a bit of an awkward position here tomorrow now.
He missed the right-hand crimp for a second, but
now he spots it. It's fascinating to watch him lead climb. It's as if he can't resist going quickly.
Yeah. He probably has to, having a bit less endurance.
Yeah. But he's still got that springing style between the holds.
Yeah, no matter what discipline, like he always has this unique style. Even on the speed route, he looks more dynamic than most of the climbers, although he's not the fastest yet.
So I was about to say, I want to get that clip done. He does now. And this is the point where there's a rest that Jongwon Chon found. Samoa doesn't look like he wants a rest. It looks like he'd rather carry on, get a few more moves done. He's beginning to puff his cheeks.
I'm pretty sure he'd love to have a rest, but jumping into the toe hook.
So it's the two boulderers so far, stamping their authority on the final here in Wujiang. Gets the clip done. Will he choose to use that big round ball? He chooses not to, he goes straight through.
I think the big yellow is just a foothold for one of the next moves right now.
There we go. So this is the lead for Tomoe Narasaki. Jongwon Chon's high points are passed.
Looking real strong, even getting another clip in.
Tomoe Narasaki in the lead here in Wujiang, slaps up the right hand, latches it.
Such an impressive performance. He's just a couple moves away from the arete.
Tomoe just trying to figure out how to use his feet, and he loses it just as he comes over the lip of that overhang. But that's a superb effort from Tomoe Narasaki.
Did he just try to jump into another toe hook?
And look at the time, 3 minutes 20, and he was onto the head wall. 6 minute rule, we should have the 4 minute rule if Tomoe's competing.
He doesn't care about any time limits.
I didn't think there was much chance of being timed out, I have to say.
There's not many routes in the world that take him longer than 6 minutes anyway. Oh yeah, he did. He tried to jump into the toe hook, threw his foot around the corner.
Looked like he had fun. Great stuff, Tomoe Narasaki. First lead World Cup final, I'm sure he'd have taken that.
The whole Japanese team seemed to have a great time throughout the weekend. They really enjoyed qualifiers, were laughing a lot even the second after they fell.
And you see it there, Tomoe Narasaki 34 to Jongwon Chon's 30 plus. Yoshiyuki Ogata making up the rest of the early podium. 4 climbers still to come.
I can't wait to see how the actual lead climbers do in the lower sections. It looked kind of bouldery, but obviously guys like Romain Desgranges, they have the required skill set to get through the bottom part and all the athletic moves in the roof as well. He doesn't look like Romain Desgranges doesn't look like one of the most athletic climbers, but throughout the year he did so well on even the hardest bouldery moves. I was really impressed by his bouldering skills and athletic ability.
And an interesting aspect actually of the men's competition is that Roman's not only been incredibly successful, not really many other climbers have been that consistent. And it's meant that he's got a very healthy lead in the overall standings, and as I mentioned, he can actually clinch the win in the overall standings this week, this competition here in Wujiang. But long way to go before that's an issue, of course, but nobody else has been anything like as consistent. 3 wins for him so far. He's having the season of his life. Great to see as well, he's been climbing for an awful long time. First World Cup in 2003, had to wait 12 years to win one. And then they've just come, it's been a flood of wins, particularly this season.
He's by far the oldest competitor in the field. He's like something like 8 years older than the second oldest. Even more impressive to see him not only keep climbing on a high level, but improving every year.
I think that's the extraordinary thing. He's redefining persistence. 12 years, he never won a World Cup, and then he just found the formula. Suddenly he can't stop winning. He climbs 5th here, 4th out of the semi-final. As I say, the overall title up for grabs. Amazing to think where he's at. First time competed in 2003, 14 years ago. Still going strong, and he's not going to let go of a hold like that, Romain Desgranges. Looks like he's measured his pace quite nicely. He's about to hit the roof. In case you haven't got your bearings on the route just yet, 4 minutes to go. Next move sees him into the volume where we saw Jongwon Chon find a rest. Does Roman rest?
He really doesn't need to.
No.
Compared to the other guys, he's probably less pumped. He got through the bottom part effortlessly, seems like, and he has much more endurance than Jongwon and Tomoa probably. But we'll see how he struggles a bit on the dynamic move to the crimp. Oh, he doesn't.
Yeah, once he latched that crimp, he wasn't letting go. And you could see, it's good to see him look straight at the camera then. Didn't look as if there was too much fatigue yet. That's the sort of hold he'll like, that big crimp. And he looks solid on it. So go straight through. There it is. I'll be heading up to the black volume, then the two back-to-back yellow holds, where we saw Jongwon Chon fall. Powers through it. This will be enough for second. And Romain Desgrange, big surprise, blows it towards the end of the roof. He's in second place and absolutely furious with himself. Let's have another look. So the left hand looked pretty solid. Let's have a look what went wrong here. Left hand went. As he went for the move, left hand slipped. Absolutely raging in himself.
So means Tomoa is still in the lead. Is it the first World Cup of the season Tomoa did? Did he enter another comp before?
Another
China?
lead World Cup.
Another lead World Cup.
No, first one since 2013.
Well, if he wins his first lead World Cup of the season, then we could as well hand out the wild card for the Olympics.
So Romain Desgrange, you see him there, yes, second place, 30 plus, same as Jongwon Chon. Count back sees him above Jongwon. So that means he can't clinch the overall World Cup title for 2017. He's still very much in the driving seat, Romain Desgrange. He's been far more consistent than just about anyone else, but he won't clinch it today. Domen Skofic will be out next, the winner of the Lead World Cup's overall crown 2016. At times, it hasn't seemed like he's having much fun this year. Don't think he enjoyed the bouldering season much. He looked like a man who needed a rest. He's had one and loved climbing in Edinburgh. And I saw him at lunch today and he said he loved the semi-final as well. He's climbing with a smile again.
I think he had really high expectations going into bouldering season and didn't work out that well for him maybe compared to his standards, and I'm happy for him to be in a second final in a row after a bit of a rough start to the lead season.
Yeah, really good to see him. When we were in China back in April and May, as I say, it didn't seem like Domen was loving life. The bouldering season didn't go according to plan by any means. Not a success. But he's found his form again in the lead. It's great to see. Still to come, Han-Wool Kim. 3 Koreans worth noting in the across the 16 finalists, men's and women's, 2 in the men, and of course Jane Kim in the women's. So as well as Japan, Korea have had an excellent day. Told there's a very good Korean restaurant just down the road from the hotel. I haven't checked it out yet. Could get my fill of kimchi. Do like the Korean food. Domen Skofic underway in the men's route. No problems with the bouldery start, but he's climbing relatively slowly. We haven't had anyone really close to the time limit on the men's route. Route setter's got it pretty much perfect with the women's. Yangjia Garnbrett, the only person to top, and she did it pretty much in the last second she could. They couldn't have done it any better with the women. We haven't had anyone close to time out on the men's.
In my opinion, the women route could have been a bit more straightforward in the bottom half, but the men's route looks amazing. I really like if route set is, well, I like the modern style of route setting, where it's not just a 50 move crimp ladder, but routes are actually exciting, and even the best have to try hard on moves halfway up the route, like Dorman, who just pulled hard on this undercling to get through the first hard section.
And again chooses to rest. He's a couple of moves below the triangular black volume where Jong Won-chon manufactured something of a rest. I'm surprised he's actually taken so long to rest Domin as a lead climber. I thought he might just keep motoring through this section.
We'll see how long he can stay in this rest. Yesterday in qualifiers he had his right calf cramping halfway up the route. That's why he fell on the second route, he told me. But he seems to be fine today.
Now he's into the roof. You can see the small crimp right at the top of your screen where he's going now. There it is. And we saw Kichiro Koranaga absolutely launch no feet for this next move. Domin needs to be a bit more careful than that, and he is. No problem at all. Not won a World Cup this year, Domin. Won plenty last year. Believe it or not, it's Tomoa Narasaki who currently leads the way in the men's competition. He put in a superb performance. Roman de Grange in second, Jong Won-chon in third. What can Domin Skofic do?
He made this move look so easy with the left heel hook he has. He can even rest on the move where some other guys fell. He might be the best competitor when it comes down to crazy heel hooks that no one else can find.
No! He just about makes it stick and then slips as he readjusts. 2 minutes 11 left on the clock. Think he'll be awarded a 31 for that, or is it a 30 plus?
I think it's just a 30 plus, same as for Romain and Jongwon. He never has control, and then his left hand comes off before he established a solid position. But he'll still be in second place due to countback.
Yes, that'll be a three-way tie. Domin Skofic, Roman de Grange and Jong Won-chon on that 30-plus move.
And Tomoa has his first lead World Cup medal already. It's at least bronze, even if the last two competitors beat him on the finals route.
It could be a gold. This is extraordinary from Tomoa.
I would love him to win a gold medal at the Lead World Cup.
And Domin Skofic is awarded 31. I don't think there won't be any appeals, because even if he got 30 plus, it would have been the same result. He'd still be in second on countback, so I don't think any of the teams of France or Korea will bother appealing that one. He gets 31 and he moves into second place. It's Han-Wul Kim.
He looked really strong in semi-finals, but the route, the style of the semi-final route was a bit different. It was more about endurance climbing on tiny holds, and I haven't seen him climb much to have a good idea how well he climbs on volumes and more powerful moves.
Keep an eye on the top of your screen. We'll have the results come through. Already seen Yangjia Garnbret claim the gold in the women's competition. They are definitely not updated results. Tomoa Narasaki still leading the way. Those two climbers, Yoshiyuki, and there we go. Had a few problems, I'm told, with the judges' tablets earlier on. You see there, Domin Skofic, we just saw him second place, Roman de Grange third, Jong Won-chon fourth, Yoshiyuki Ogata in fifth, and Kichiro Koranaga in sixth. Kichiro with a wild jump in the roof that cost him. Kim off the black volumes and onto the yellow, and you see it again there. Tomoa Narasaki leading the way. I bet he cannot believe his eyes. Really, really impressive performance. Just kept going. The old theory that if you can do one move, you might be able to do the next. It worked a treat. Oh, and that was a slip from Han-Woo Kim. He needs to get his feet back on. He can't afford much energy in that position.
He doesn't look comfortable at all on these athletic, more bouldery moves. Even up to there, it took him a bit more time, and just taking this extra second or two on every move takes away so much energy. So I'll be surprised if he somehow gets through the roof and up to where Tomoa fell.
He's got himself back on track for now. Agreed, he's not looking super comfortable at this stage. These moves might be more to his taste. Made the final last year actually in Vila. Excuse me, Shearman. And Imst. Getting my Shearmans and my Vilars mixed up, not sure how that's possible. Quite different places. After Shearman next week, already been in Vila this year. Yeah, he seems to have recovered his composure slightly. Looked like he was in a lot of trouble in that really uncomfortable pressing position.
Even his resting position looks a bit more uncomfortable compared to what the other guys did. He has no pressure on his right foot around the corner.
Here he goes, launching into the roof.
So impressive how guys like him can climb for 3 minutes on such hard moves without looking super pumped.
And again the feet cut loose, but he just about holds it.
His left elbow comes up a little bit. He seems to be a bit pumped.
Plenty of time left. He's climbing quickly but struggling with the clip. Decides not to bother.
Some of the other guys put their right foot to the far right on the other black volume. That's what he does now to get the clip in.
Now he makes the clip, but again, energy lost in that section.
But he just keeps going. Really impressive performance.
Shaky out. He definitely seems to be recovering here. I mean, these are tiny holds he's recovering on. Quite incredible where he's able to rest. Now he launches up and he just missed the bolt on hole, but then dropped onto it second go. Goes up with the left hand. This could be enough for second place.
Whoa.
Well, if Domen Skoffic was given a 31 there.
I didn't. Was he?
He was given a 31.
Okay.
Yeah.
He looked at least as good, as solid as Domen, but I'm not sure if he gets one. There still might be an appeal.
Well, this is.
It's so hard to judge on a move like this, where the feet are supposed to come off the wall.
So what the judges are trying to decide is he actually controlling the hold, or is he actually still moving off the last one?
I'll say, in my opinion, he didn't control the swing, so I'm not sure how that comes into play. Of course, he had his hand on the hold for quite some time, but he never established a solid position. He didn't hang on both holds. He didn't put on his right foot. We'll see if there are appeals and what the outcome is.
Well, he's been given 31 by the judges. I was about to say Domen, when he latched that hold, kind of readjusted on it. So you could see how they might have said he had it in control. It's a tough call. That's why we have human judges and not some sensor on the inside of the wall. But there you can see it. Han-Woo Kim, second place. Amazing result for him. He's guaranteed at least a podium.
I feel like I owe him an apology. I would have never thought he made it that far up the route after how he looked on the bottom half.
Well, it was interesting. He obviously didn't like the lower moves, but then a lead climber's endurance saved him. And
really did.
Once he got comfortable again, he was clean through the roof.
If I see these tiny crimps in the roof, I would never even think about resting, and he just got a lot of energy back, just enough to get to where all the other guys fell.
Here comes Stefano Ghisolfi. resident of Arco. Not too bad, is it?
I think he just moved there about a year ago maybe, and he's really happy about his decision. Having a lot of outdoor climbing just in his backyard.
Well, when you've been to Arco, you can see his point. It's a great place.
I'm surprised he hasn't gained like 20 kilos with all the nice pizza and ice cream places in Arco.
Hanwoo Kim's still showing up as a 31, so it hasn't been an instant appeal or new decision by the judges. So sticking with it at this stage. We'll keep an eye on that one. In the meantime, Stefano Ghisolfi is underway. Won one of these autumn Chinese World Cups last year in Xiamen, where we're off to next week.
And it doesn't actually make a difference if Dorman or Hanwoo Kim get 31 or 30 plus, because with the semi-final result and the countbacks, the ranking wouldn't change even if they both had 30 plus. But might come into play depending on what Stefano does. But I really want him to do well and show the crowd the routes possible. The upper moves we haven't seen yet look really interesting, with some kind of a mantle around the corner and some more volume climbing up top. So I just want to see someone do them.
So Stefano, I remember last October in Xiamen, looked in complete control the entire World Cup. Can he repeat that again today? What a result it would be if he could. Not won a World Cup since then. But yeah, a couple of heartbreaking moments this season where he's looked like it could be his day and then hasn't quite turned out that way. Just trying to... And this is an awkward way to clip to try and get the quick draw to swing. Doesn't look like the comfiest clip in the world, but he gets it done. Composes himself just before the steep section. That triangular volume above is that one where Zhong Wanchon rested earlier on, kind of pushed himself up against it.
Coming off a second place in Edinburgh, he must have high expectations, winning semi-finals here. He knows he's in superb shape.
Interestingly enough, he actually won here in Wujiang in 2014 and won the Masters event here last year. There wasn't a World Cup in the lead. There was a Speed World Cup. There wasn't a lead World Cup, but there was a Masters, and Stefano won that too. He obviously likes these autumn trips to China, to Xiamen and Wujiang. What can he deliver? See on his face, just a bit of a grimace, having to fight now, but still looking solid, looking like there's something left in the tank. Gets the clip done, now he can launch into this move. And he definitely has controlled it, and more, and he's on his way, and he's chasing down Tomoe Narasaki in the lead. So that's hold 31. 34 was Tomoe's score. Feels like a long time ago already. And Stefano Ghisolfi is chasing him down. He could be chasing a gold medal.
And
he looks out right. Latches it. He's heading up to that yellow volume now.
That's a victory already, but please.
Stefano Ghisolfi looking in complete control here in Wujiang. No one's been onto these moves. He's got 2 minutes left. He's already won the competition. Can he top the route as well? You can see the change in angle he's just experienced. That's what he's come from, where his left leg is. And he's now onto much easier angle ground. And he's just had a look at the clock and taken a long rest. And as well he might. He won't know he's already won.
Maybe he had to look at the crowd as well, with everyone surprisingly quiet for such an amazing performance.
As I mentioned, won in Wujiang in 2014, won the Masters in Wujiang 2016. He's going to win the World Cup again in 2017. Can he top the route as well? Now the crowd get behind him. The MC tells them what's going on. Stefano Ghisolfi, the last big volume still to come. He's lining it up. He's palming. It's so tenuous. Fighting his way leftwards. You can see the final quick draw. And he's going to clip it. Stefano Ghisolfi, the last climber out, tops the route, wins the World Cup. Amazing performance. And that's what it means. Looks up at the route almost as if he can't believe what he's just done.
I'm really happy for him. He lacked some consistency during the first part of the season, missed a couple finals, but he always looked in amazing shape, and he finally gets rewarded with 2 podiums in a row and another victory.
It's Stefano Ghisolfi and Yangjia Garnbret, your winners here today. Tomoe Narasaki takes an extraordinary 2nd place. And Stefano makes his way off the stage, and we'll have the results confirmed for you in just a second. I'm sure they'll be with us any minute now. See there, Stefano Ghisolfi, the top seals it for him. Tomoe Narasaki, 34, enough for 2nd place for him. Hamwol Kim, 31, tied on score, but takes the bronze medal over Domen Skofic on countback. Romain Desgrange leading the standings in the overall competition, 5th place for him. Yangjia Garnbret also tops the route, 1st place for her, 2nd for Jane Kim, and a podium for Julia Shanodi. Long overdue, some might say. She's been close to that podium for so long. Now she gets her. Kinaguchi, Molly Thompson-Smith, and Ashima Shirashi, Jessie Piltz, and Anna Verhoeven, the rest of the women's top 8. I believe we're going to speak to Yangjia Garnbret very shortly, which is a good result. Amazing performance. Amazing performance once again. And Jan, I'm sorry to say, we're going to need your headset in order to do the interview. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming to talk to us this evening. Have you enjoyed it? Will we see you again?
Well, usually I prefer climbing in finals instead of doing the commentating, but maybe you'll see me again if you want me to.
I'd love to have you again. Thank you very much for your time, and yeah, fantastic effort. Hopefully, as you say, we can see you on the wall next time. But thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Charlie.
That was Jan Hoyer. As I said, always prefer to see him on the wall and in the commentary box, but he makes a pretty good commentator as well as a climber. Superb insight. Love his humility as well. If I'd seen those crimps, I wouldn't be resting. Great to hear from Jan. One of the moments of the season, his win in Munich. And as I say, apparently we're just waiting for Yangjia Garnbret. Let's have a look at the last move from Yangjia before we speak to her. So we can see this was the end of Yanjia's climb. Got the clip done. Launching into the top section. Pretty much in complete control throughout the route, throughout the weekend, to be honest. Ended up quite short of time. Can't see it here, but she ended up going for that final move. Seconds to spare. So Yangjia, we're just welcome to the commentary box.
Thank you.
We're just watching your last few moves. Talk us through this. Did you realise you were a bit short of time?
Actually, I wasn't aware of my time. I looked down at the clock at this the volume when I'm stepping on with the left foot. I saw I have still 1 minute, so I thought maybe I should rest a little bit and then be quick. So yeah, I did this, and then I watched the clock again. I think somewhere here.
Yeah, because we saw you pausing at this point, and I was thinking, oh, please look at the clock, please look at the clock.
Yeah, I saw that I'm short on time, but yeah, I knew that that the last move was. I didn't know what to expect from the top hold. As we see in the qualis, a lot of women fell from the top, which was the same. So I thought maybe I should be careful, rest a little bit, and then just do the top. But then, yeah, it turned out it was not so bad. So yeah, I topped.
And what an amazing feeling that must be, clipping the top. You've had so many victories the last couple of years. Is it still as special?
It's always special to climb in front of the crowd among the girls. It's always a challenge. It's never easy. But it's crazy to think that it's my 5th win this season. It's so unreal. It's unreal.
And what do you think has been the secret? It seems like last year it seemed like maybe it couldn't get any better, and then this year it's stepped up again. It's been extraordinary this year. What's been the secret?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know what to say. Last year I thought it can get better.
I'm asking the people at home. They want to know how they can climb so well.
I don't know what to say. Maybe it was my mental game because I put all my work into bouldering. So I thought I wasn't ready for the lead comps. So I was more relaxed, and I said to myself, just do what you can. And you will see during the season where are you among the girls. But yeah, it's so cool.
Do you think the conclusion is that you climb better when there's a bit less pressure?
Yeah,
of course. Or pressure from yourself?
It's better to climb with no pressure, no from the public, from friends, people, not from me, just for fun.
I'm interested to hear you say that, because we see you come out last quite often. Like in Chamonix, there's 12,000 people, you come out last, and it seems like you don't feel the pressure. I'm really interested that you think you're better when there's less pressure. When we watch you, it seems like the opposite almost.
Yeah, well, I am under pressure a little bit before a climb, and maybe if I think the route is not so easy, or I see parts of the route where I have to be really, really strong, not pumped or something. But then when I'm under the climb, the route, boulder, whatever, I just kind of relax, and I'm in my zone, and everything else is blurred, so I'm just in my world.
Well, your world seems to be pretty comfortable right now. 5th victory of the year.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Enjoy the podium, and thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
We're going to do another substitution in the commentary box. We've had Jan Hoyer, we've had Yangjia Gambret. Now it's time for Stefano Ghisolfi. Yangjia, congratulations. Thank you for talking to us. And as I say, enjoy the podium.
Thank you.
That was Yangjia Gambret shouting cool, high-fiving Stefano Ghisolfi, and we'll have him in just a second. He'll put his headset on. Stefano, welcome to the commentary box.
Thank you.
Fantastic performance. You seem to climb well here in Wujiang every year.
Yes, I love the China style. I don't know. Maybe it just brings me good luck.
What do you think it is? Because last year you won in Xiamen, you've won in Wujiang in 2014. What is it about China that you enjoy so much? You enjoy the culture and the totally different scene?
I don't think it's about China. I think maybe it's about the period that I'm in a good shape in around October. So every time the competition in China are in October, so I always perform well here.
And why are you in the best shape in October? Is it just because it's the end of the lead season? Have you been training a lot during the summer? What's the reason?
I don't know. I think I used to be in a good shape for all the year, and maybe the others goes more up and down, and I keep my shape all over all the year. So maybe I'm not in my best shape, but the others maybe are feeling the end of the season.
Do you feel like you climb better towards the end of the season, and the others maybe lose it towards the end of the season? You think that might be it?
Yeah, it might be.
Well, next week we're in Xiamen. You won there last year. You must be super confident now.
Yeah, I'm confident now, yes.
Okay, well, hey, best of luck for next week.
Thank you.
I can't wait to watch you. You have to go to the podium now. We will be live streaming the podiums. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in a week's time in Sheermen with this man possibly picking up another gold medal.
I hope. Thank you.
My name is Stefano Ghisolfi. I'm from Turin, but I live in Arco now. I'm 23 years old and I'm a professional climber. I was good until the beginning when I started climbing, but I don't know why. I started climbing at 11 years old, and I just feel good in this sport. Before I used to go biking, but I wasn't that good. So I feel good climbing. I felt the first time light. I felt comfortable, and I just like it. Winning a competition is everything about details. Everything you eat, how much you sleep, how good you sleep in the night before, and how good was your training in your month before or the previous year. Everything, every detail is important for a victory. I like climbing during the competition because it's always a challenge with the others. That my opponents are also my friends, and I like climb outside too because there are no pressure against the others, but just is a more relaxing thing. And sometimes it's stressful too because there is the pressure about the route and about the challenge with yourself. But I like both competing and climbing outside. I moved to Arco because there are a lot of rock climbing, a lot of crags here for climbing, and a lot of gym and new possibility for training too. And also because it's a beautiful place, it's near the lake, there are a lot of mountains. I think there is everything here, and it's not a big city, so also I think living is better here. Now I'm in Arco, so I'm closer to Austria and Germany. So I'd like to visit also Austria and Franken-Jura maybe. That is closer here than Turin. So I would like to visit a lot of new places for me, and also move around the world, and maybe Spain and Catalonia is the best place maybe for climbing in the winter. So I think this winter I will go in Catalonia for a bit. And then some other places for me. I didn't climb in a lot of places, so everything is new for me. I don't know when my career will stop. I hope I will be good enough to compete in the Olympics in 4 years, and maybe in the next Olympics in 8 years, and maybe then I will be old enough to stop competing. I don't know yet.
现场的各位观众，感谢您在现场与我们共同等待。那么您现在所在是中国吴江门户国际攀岩世界杯攀岩赛的比赛现场。那么今天所有比赛已经结束了，马上要进行的是此次世界杯本站赛的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, coming up, awarding ceremony. 那么很快将进行颁奖仪式，我们将为速度、难度、男子、女子的总共12位运动员颁发冠亚季军的这样一个荣誉。那么现场观众，稍后也欢迎您与我们共同欢度这样的时光。那么在每一位冠军出场的时候，我们将奏起他们的国歌。那么同时，我们也邀请现场的观众，当冠军所在的国家的国歌响起的时候，请与我们一起起立。以示尊重。那么稍后将要进行的是此次比赛的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, coming up, awarding ceremony.
DT of IFSC Vincent, please go to the big screen. Thank you. 现场的各位，2017年中国吴江澎湖国际攀岩世界杯攀岩赛，那么终于到了最后分享运动员喜悦的时间，稍后即将开始是我们的颁奖典礼的时间。
女士们、先生们，大家晚上好 ，Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and good evening。这里是2017年中国吴江澎湖国际攀联世界杯攀岩赛颁奖仪式的活动现场。This is IFSC Climbing World Cup 澎湖吴江2017 Awarding Ceremony。接下来，今天的第一个奖项颁发女子难度，有请获奖运动员登场。Please welcome the athletes for Women League. Welcome. 有请颁奖嘉宾，国家体育总局登山运动管理中心攀岩攀冰部部长厉国伟先生。Please welcome our honored guest, Minister of Ice and Rock Department of CMA, Mr. 厉国伟。那么为获奖运动员颁发奖金赠送鲜花的是澎湖高新技术产业开发区社会事业局局长袁毅理事 ，Director General of 澎湖 High Tech Industrial Development Zone, Miss 袁毅。欢迎两位引导 ，Welcome。获得季军的运动员 ，The bronze medal goes to 来自法国的茱莉亚选手 ，France Julia，Congratulations！ 请厉部长为获奖运动员颁发奖牌，有请。有请袁局长为获奖运动员颁发奖金，赠送鲜花，有请。获得亚军的运动员 ，The silver medal goes to Korea Kim Jae-in， 恭喜来自韩国的金之人，恭喜。有请厉部长为获奖运动员颁发奖牌。请袁局长为获奖运动员颁发奖金，赠送鲜花。2017年中国吴江澎湖国际攀联世界杯攀岩赛女子难度冠军的选手是 The winner of IFSC Climbing World Cup 澎湖吴江2017 Women League. Congratulations to Slovenia, Yana. Congratulations， 恭喜来自斯洛文尼亚的 Yana 选手。 有请李部长为获奖运动员颁发奖牌，有请。
这个小孩，
请袁局长为获奖运动员颁发奖金，赠送鲜花，有请。女士们、先生们，请全体起立，奏斯洛文尼亚国歌。
小孩给我下去。
Please all rise up and play the national anthem of Slovenia. 再次恭喜所有的获奖运动员，也感谢所有的参赛运动员，请我们的领导和各位运动员一起合影留念。Congratulations to all the climbers. You did a good job. Congratulations again. 谢谢，谢谢我们的各位领导，谢谢我们的获奖运动员，有请。接下来将要颁发男子难度冠亚季军。Please welcome the athletes for manly. Welcome. 为获奖运动员颁发奖牌是文湖高新技术产业开发区管委会副主任石荣先生。Welcome our honored guest.Deputy Director of Wuhu High-Tech Industrial Development Zone, Mr. 石荣 ，Welcome。为获奖运动员颁发奖金、赠送鲜花的是吴江区体育局局长韩美玲女士 ，Director of Wujiang Sport Bureau, Miss 韩美玲 ，Welcome。获得季军的运动员，恭喜 ，The bronze medal goes to。Korea, Kim Han-woo 来自韩国的金韩舞选手，恭喜！有请石荣主任为获奖运动员颁发奖牌。有请韩局长为获奖运动员颁发奖金，赠送鲜花，有请。The silver medal goes to Japan, Tomoa Narazaki. Congratulations! 恭喜来自日本的 Tomoa 选手获得亚军。有请石主任为获奖运动员颁发奖牌，有请。请韩局长为获奖运动员颁发奖金，赠送鲜花。获得2017年中国吴江冯湖国际攀岩世界杯攀岩赛男子难度冠军的选手是 The winner of IFSC Climbing World Cup 芜湖吴江2017。Mainly goes to Italy, Stefano. Congratulations! 恭喜来自意大利的斯蒂法诺选手获得男子难度冠军。有请石主任为获奖运动员颁发奖牌。 赠送鲜花。女士们、先生们，请全体起立，奏意大利国歌。Please all rise up and play the national anthem of Italy. 是的，再次恭喜所有的获奖运动员，也感谢所有的参赛运动员，大家辛苦了。请我们的领导和我们的运动员一起合影留念。Congratulations，Thank you， 谢谢，谢谢我们的各位领导，再次恭喜我们的各位运动员。接下来将要颁发女子速度赛前3名，有请获奖运动员登场。Please welcome the athletes for women's speed. Welcome. 为获奖运动员颁发奖牌的是国际攀联技术代表文森特先生。Please welcome our special guest, the technical delegate of IFSC, Mr. Vincent. Welcome. 为获奖运动员颁发奖金、赠送鲜花的是澎湖高新技术产业开发区社会事业局局长袁毅女士。Our special guest, Director General of Wuhu High Tech District Industrial Development Zone, Miss 袁毅 ，Welcome。获得季军的运动员 ，The bronze medal goes to Russia, Elisaveta Ivanova。来自俄罗斯的伊丽莎贝达·伊万诺娃，恭喜！有请文森特先生为获奖运动员颁发奖牌。有请袁局长为获奖运动员颁发奖金、赠送鲜花，有请。The silver medal goes to France and Japan. Congratulations! 恭喜来自法国的安努克选手获得了女子速度亚军。有请文森特先生为获奖运动员颁发奖牌，有请。有请袁局长为获奖运动员颁发奖金、赠送鲜花，有请。获得 2017年中国吴江汾湖国际攀岩世界杯攀岩赛女子速度赛冠军的选手是 The winner of IFSC World Camping Club 汾湖吴江2017 goes to Russia Yulia Kavalina， 恭喜来自俄罗斯的尤利亚选手获得了女子速度冠军。有请文森特先生为获奖运动员颁发奖牌，有请。有请袁局为获奖运动员颁发奖金，赠送鲜花，有请。现场各位，请全体起立，奏俄罗斯国歌。Please all rise up and play the national anthem of Russia. 再次恭喜我们所有的获奖运动员 ，Congratulations to all the athletes。那么有请获奖运动员和我们的颁奖嘉宾一起合影留念。Congratulations, thank you。各位，接下来将要颁发今天最后一个奖项，有请获得男子速度冠亚季军的选手登场。Please welcome the athletes for men's speed. Welcome. 为获奖运动员颁发奖牌的是国际攀岩联合会副主席、国家体育总局登山运动管理中心主任李志新先生。Please welcome our special guest, Vice President of IFSC Chairman of China Mountaineering Association, Mr. 李志新。为获奖运动员颁发奖金赠送鲜花的是吴江区体育局局长韩美玲女士。Welcome our special guest, Director of Wujiang Sport Bureau, Miss 韩美玲。获得季军的运动员是 The most medal goes to Indonesia, Supriyanto. Congratulations！ 恭喜来自印度尼西亚的选手苏芬扬托。有请李主席为获奖运动员颁发奖牌。有请韩局长为获奖运动员颁发奖金，赠送鲜花。Indonesia Aspa Jailolo， 恭喜来自印度尼西亚的阿斯巴选手获得男子速度亚军。有请李主席为获奖运动员颁发奖牌。奖牌来了。2017年中国吴江汾湖国际攀岩世界杯攀岩赛男子 子速度冠军的选手是 The winner of IFSC Climbing World Cup 汾湖吴江2017 Men's Speed goes to Russia Alexander Shinkov。恭喜来自俄罗斯的亚历山德·辛科夫获得了冠军。有请李主席为获奖运动员颁发奖牌。有请韩局长为获奖运动员颁发奖金，赠送鲜花。女士们、先生们，请全体起立，奏俄罗斯国歌。Ladies and gentlemen, please all rise up and play the national anthem of Russia. 所有的获奖运动员，请获奖运动员和我们的颁奖嘉宾一起合影留念。Congratulations to all the athletes. 谢谢，谢谢我们各位领导，再次恭喜所有的获奖运动员。现场的各位，最后，让我们感谢江苏省澎湖高新区在本的努力和贡献，感谢。